In 2023, about 1.6 million candidates registered for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, an examination which qualifies candidates for admission into universities, polytechnic, monotechnic and other tertiary institutions in Nigeria.
Yes.
The figure is slightly different from what obtained in 2022, when of the 1,761,000,000 who applied, 1,707,000,000 candidates eventually wrote the examination.
The man told his son to be dashed strangers. The man told his son to be dashed strangers. Please listen carefully.
There is a differential of about 400,000 candidates in those who registered in 2021 when compared with those of 2022. Of about 1.6 million who wrote the examination in 2023, 337 of them have sight challenge, same for 2022 when 383 visually challenged candidates competed for admission alongside the 1.8 million other candidates.
No. KNOW.
The list goes on and on. The question is, what are the chances of these candidates who are coming to be examined already having the baggage of visual impairment? They were treated just like every other candidate. Same time, same venue, same condition, their disability regardless. One will wonder how this minority group with special need will cope in such situation with high competitiveness in every sense of the word. The odds, without doubt, were against them. And that has been the case and their predicament since 1978, when the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board was born, up until 2017, when the examination body decided to give them a soft landing. The board created a group which it called the JAM Equal Opportunity Group to cater to the need of the candidates whenever they wrote the examination. Worthy of note is that the intervention came to be just immediately after Professor Is-haq Oloyede became the registrar and chief executive of the examination body. GEOG, as the group is also called, was established by Professor Is-haq Oloyede as a committee by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board with the aim of providing necessary support to persons living with disabilities who desire access to higher education. Professor Oloyede spotted an imbalance in subjecting candidates with physical disabilities and those without any to the same condition of examination.
He established this group to pursue his agenda of equal opportunities. So from 2017, we started to administer the UTME to blind candidates. Like we're doing now, at the end, we return the scores to him. They are doing the same type of exam, the same type of test papers, 20 subjects, the same questions are administered to the regular candidates, if you like, those who are not blind, and to these candidates. So, and at the end, they get admitted into universities. So I'm glad to report that the equal opportunity agenda of Professor Is-haq Oloyede is paying off. Over the last 4 years, at least a third of the candidates that are visually impaired like this have been admitted on merit to our universities, polytechnics and colleges for education, but mainly universities, about 98% of them in our universities. So the man who gave birth to this thing is Is-haq Oloyede. The man who is pursuing his agenda is Is-haq Oloyede.
Professor Is-haq Oloyede would have loved that prominent mention is not made of these efforts, since seeing them as doing his bit to help the world in need. However quiet he would have loved to live, but his work already are blaring his name in loud note, particularly by some of the beneficiaries and witnesses of the gestures.
I want to use this opportunity to thank the JAM Registrar, Stroke Chief Executive, Professor Is-haq Oloyede. He is the world's #1 equal opportunity advocate. He is a great man.
Is to give opportunity for JAMB examination for the blind candidates. They enroll along with others and they indicated that they are blind, and they are sorted out and they are pulled out. Because their form of examination is a bit modified compared to the normal candidates. Yes, because it's a special group, they come around, they are given accommodation, and they are assisted in their accommodation and transportation. That's courtesy of the JAMB itself. So when they are here, they are also given breakfast, they are given lunch and supper. They are given orientation, pending the time for the examination. And then they are subjected to the examination. The mode of examination, because they cannot read those questions, they can't see. So it is read to them slowly, gradually to their comprehension.
Reveals that option A.
I will really say a very big thank you to the organizer of JAM this year, because they've been taking good care of us since we came in. They'll be taking us with their bus to the hotel and bringing us back to the exam hall, and they'll be taking good care of us. So wonderful, and we appreciate their effort. Those efforts is going to help me succeed in life, because they'll be building me that after this stage, I should have that confidence in going into the world, into the university, and to achieve my aim and conquer those challenges that will be bringing me down.
Question 23. 23, type 23.
So far, more than 2,600 visually challenged candidates have been assisted in their efforts and desire to chart a life where they can be sources of hope and blessings to others, rather than being at the receiving end always.
The time I lost my sight, I was thinking that it's the end of life. I didn't actually know that the sky is just a beginning, that it's not the end of life. The time I got admission in Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind, so I was so motivated. The time I saw the person that was blind being a lawyer, and also my teacher there, most of them was also visually impaired. So I knew that since they make it in life, that I can also make it in life.
The experience of this exam today, it was actually okay. And hopefully by the special grace of God, that I'm hoping to become the best.
Wonderful examination. You take the hand of the registrar. Take the hand of the registrar. Thank you.
In addition to spearheading this intervention, Professor Oloyede takes time to visit these special candidates. In one of such visits, he let them in on the main reason behind his JAM Equal Opportunity Group.
We count on you. You count. You count, and that's why we count on you for the development of this nation. You have your energy. You have your endowment. How do we craft this endowment for the development of humanity? You might just think that, you have one defect or you have one disability. God knows what you do. And you can always go beyond disability. If my friend Danladi, even when he speaks, even at the conference assembly that we were together, everybody listens because he's educated. He has, you don't need to have physical eyes to physical eyes. Some people have physical eyes, they can see, but they can still not see. You see more than those people with physical, their eyes wide open, yet they cannot see, and they end up committing error that you will not commit. So, brothers, everybody is differently empowered, and that is why we must thank the government for making it possible for us to say that let us mainstream you. Let us, because if you allow you to be within the 1.6 or 1.8 students, there will be no particular attention paid to your needs.
The accommodation and promises of support from school administrators who consider the group as noble.
In the last 5 years, we've been partnering with JAM to support such people, not just the blind, to come into Unilife. We also have processes within the University of Lagos to try and make their experience a more pleasurable one and to assist them to achieve their full potential. Have we done everything that we can? No. And so there's still work to be done. And we will be doing that alongside with JAM. So I visualize a lot more deepening of that relationship so that we can continue to give assistance to those who need it and to bring out the best in all our citizens, irrespective of whatever physical challenge that they may have.
Public office, option A.
Part of the future plan is to see to it that with every advancement in technology, these candidates can one day write the examination in similar manner like the regular candidates. And plans are also in the pipeline to take this initiative beyond Nigeria to other countries on the African continent.
You see, we have a research group that conducts investigation into our performance. And their recommendations will then lead us to improve on our performance in the previous year. Beginning from this year, we're going to do some pilot run of 3 models. We've received approval from Professor Oloyede that beginning from 2014, we'll give an option to a candidate. Do you want it fully CBT? Do you want it fully Braille? Do you want it fully read aloud, the one we're doing? And so we're going to test run these models before year's end and ensure that we put in place the mechanism to make 2014 more friendly to our candidates, 2015 and over, God keeping us, over a 10-year period, our candidates will be doing exactly what the regular candidates are doing.
The intervention of the group includes the conduct of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation UTME and the raising of awareness of the public about the Equal Opportunity Doctrine of Professor Is-haq Oloyede.
Wait, WABED. Choose the correct answer.
For now, candidates make use of personal computers, braille slate and typewriters to write their answers. JAM provides some of these materials for candidates who need them.
Dr. Latunde, you're taking on the second column. Listen, we have the following columns.
The man told his son to be dash strangers. The man told his son to be dash strangers. Please listen carefully.
All these to meet the goal of the founder, which is to ensure that no Nigerian who is qualified should be prevented from taking the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination regardless of disabilities. That is in a bid to creating a level playing field for all candidates.
B. Drinking. C. Smoking.
Worthy of note is that these special candidates take same test items as those without physical disabilities. Some of them, although few, offer science, technology, engineering and mathematics subjects, making the group begin a study on how to encourage visually challenged candidates to study STEM subjects. For ease of access, the examination centers are spread across 11 locations nationwide, which include Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, Ado-Ekiti in the southwest Nigeria, Bauchi, Benin in the south-south, Enugu in the southeast, Jos in the north-central, Kano in the northwest, Kebbi, Lagos, the nation's commercial nerve center, Oyo and Yola in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria. During every examination period, candidates and their guide are provided with free hotel accommodation, feeding and transportation supplementation depending on where they come to write the examination. The provision is not just visually challenged candidates, those with autism and Down syndrome, as well as those in correctional facilities are also covered. This is adjudged first of its kind on the African continent. As at the last count, out of the over 2,600 candidates that have taken the examination, more than a quarter have gained admission to higher institutions in Nigeria, particularly universities. As part of plans to encourage increased admissions for these special candidates, Professor Is-haq Oloyede has accepted the group's recommendation of awards to universities and other higher institutions with high enrollment and admission of physically challenged students. It is also working on catering to candidates with other forms of disability such as hearing by providing them with sign language interpreters. The new arrangement is also to cater to candidates with attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and those that cannot physically operate computer because they have no hand or arm. This initiative by JAM has been cited in the last 4 years in several countries as a good model for Africa. On May 16, 2022, it received an Africa Regional Award by the Global University Network for Innovation, which was established by a resolution of the UNESCO World Conference on Higher Education in 2000. The JAM registrar emerged as the best advocate of equal opportunity in higher education in Africa.
Commitment to service.
Professor Oloyede was rated high above others in Africa at a meeting held at the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in Paris, where African countries were compared in the opportunities afforded to people living with disabilities and their access to higher education in Nigeria.
Commitment to serve.
The JAM Equal Opportunity Group was among Professor Oloyede's earliest programs and policies from the word go on Tuesday, August 9th, 2016. Another was the reduction of the charges for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination from 5,000 Naira to 3,000 Naira. This is adjudged by some as the lowest for such examination globally. And in spite of this reduction, JAM, within a 6-year period, remitted 50 billion Naira to the coffers of the federal government, an amount higher than the cumulative remittances of the board in its over 40 years of establishment, which stood at 52 million Naira between 1978 and 2016. Professor Is-haq Oloyede is a professor of Islamics. He's also a fellow at the Islamic Academy of Cambridge, United Kingdom. He is a fellow Nigerian Academy of Letters. He was former Vice Chancellor, University of Ilorin. His tenure at the University of Ilorin witnessed the highest growth in academic and physical development and unprecedented stability in academic calendar. He was president of the Association of African Universities. He was the initiator and honorary secretary general of all West Africa Universities, AWAU. He was the Executive Secretary and National Coordinator of the Nigerian Inter-Religious Council, NIREC, from 2007 to 2018, and currently the Secretary General of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. He is one of the few Chief Executive Officers of a parastatal in the Federal Ministry of Education to receive the prestigious National Honors Award of the Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, after receiving years before the National Honors Award of the Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic, OFR.
I'd like you to give yourselves a round of applause.
The Is-haq Oloyede Doctrine of Equal Opportunity sees beyond the present to the future, all within the African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. He has concluded plans to host in September of 2023 a national conference on equal opportunity of access to higher education. This is to be followed in June 2024 by an Africa Regional Conference on the same theme, which will bring together stakeholders from 55 African countries. The long-term agenda being to encode the Is-haq Oloyede Doctrine of Equal Opportunity for adoption in the Africa region. World history is replete of names of people with visual and other impairment to have caused ripples in the stream of time. Louis Braille invented and designed the Braille writing. Joseph Pulitzer posthumously established the Pulitzer Prizes. Galileo Galilei was first to discover the 4 largest satellites of Jupiter. Franklin Roosevelt, America's 32nd president. Steve Wonder, an American singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. Helen Keller was first deaf and blind person to graduate from college. Abraham Nemeth, an American mathematician and inventor who later developed the Nemeth Braille code for mathematics and science notation. And talk about Nigeria's own Kobams Asukwo, a renowned musician, producer, songwriter, businessman, speechmaker, and lawyer. The list, in short, is long, but the common denominator among all is their firm foundation on formal education. And that is the power that Professor Is-haq Oloyede is helping this special candidate possess. Camille Pissarro, a French Impressionist painter, was once quoted as saying that "Blessed are they who see beautiful things in humble places where other people see nothing." And Marian Wright Edelman said, "We must not, in trying to think about how we can make a big difference, ignore the small daily differences we can make, which over time add up to big differences that we often cannot foresee." Just that is what this unassuming gentleman professor is doing at his corner, helping these special people one at a time. Professor Oloyede is renowned nationally and in Africa as a champion for addressing issues of inequities of access to and retention in higher education.
Patrimoine matériel et immatériel est lié.
At the UNESCO World Higher Education Conference held in Barcelona between May 17 and 20th, 2022, stark inequity in access to higher education were decried by the Director General of UNESCO. The call for making higher education a fundamental human right and public good was made with greater stridency. The intervention by this nominee is clearly in this direction, an attestation to his far-sightedness in promoting inclusive education. I present to you Professor Is-haq Oloyede, nominee for CNN Heroes 2023.